Alrighty, good morning. I'm going to show you a little bit of a scroll sawing, but first what I'd like to do is give you a little bit of a tour as to what we have here. Starting here, this is actually a magnetic sheet that I usually use when I'm doing really small pieces because the hole that's in the actual base is a lot larger. Also, if I can roll this back a little bit, you might see these holes right here. This is for the bottom vac. And if I was using the vacuum, it would get very, very loud here. This arm here, I call it the puffer. This is a blower. So when I do turn the machine on, it's going to blow the dust off of the guideline so I can see the guideline that I'm cutting. Now, this is one of my modifications. This I call the top vac. So this is the hose and everything, and it's a magnetic mount right here. And I've got it mounted on the side of the arm. And what this does is this will suck up anything that is over here on the piece of wood. So when I do set my piece of wood in, generally I get it so that it's pretty close to the blade and like that. So as I cut, wood gets blown, or I should say the dust, sawdust gets blown here underneath, sucked up, and it takes about 90-95% of the sawdust away. But today, being that I want to keep this as quiet as possible, I'm not going to use the vacuum. So here's a blade already mounted. I have a chuck on the bottom, a chuck on the top. This is the tensioning. So I'm going to bring the tension up so that it is, oops, let me get my magnifying glass out of the way. It is nice and tight. Now this is a number, I think this is a number 1 ultra reverse. So I'm going to try and cut my piece of wood with it. Normally for the little cars that I create, I use a number 5, and that's just basically how many teeth are per inch and how thick it actually is in terms of cutting. I find that number 5, I have really, really good control over that. So I'm going to take a chance, see what happens when I cut this. We'll get this up. One other thing that I have, I don't know, you can see a little bit of it. This is a lighted magnifying glass. This is really important, especially when I'm doing intarsia and the small pieces, or intarsia as a whole, because you really need to stay on the lines as you're going to be taking separate cuts, separate pieces of wood, and putting them together like a puzzle, and you want to be as exact as possible. So let me grab my piece of wood. Hopefully I'm not going to hit the camera here, and I'm going to try and just do a quick cut and curve. Let me get my headphones on. You might want to lower your volume a little bit. I'm probably not going to talk for the next 10-15 seconds. And this way you can not have your eardrums blown out. So I'm actually adjusting my magnifying glass so I can see. And at 61 years old, my eyes aren't what they used to be. So here we go, getting my ear protection on, getting my eye protection, and I'm going to start the first cut. Here we go. So what I'm doing right now is trying to see how the wood is going to cut, and then I'm going to line it up with my first cut. You can see I'm slowing down, and here we go. Now I prefer, I'm drifting a little bit here. I prefer accuracy over speed. Now again, this number 1 blade I probably should not be using. It's usually for smaller, thinner pieces of wood. And so you can see how that's blowing dust away. But I'm trying to keep it so that you can see what I'm actually doing. And let's take it to the curve. And I am spinning the piece of wood. And I'm trying not to push very hard. I'm actually just guiding and letting the blade do the work. And I'm drifting just a little bit. But for a puzzle like this, it's not super critical because I'm going to be rounding the edges anyway. But again, I like to stay as accurate as possible. Now, some people may say, holy smoke, you are really slow. Yeah, I am. But that's okay, because I don't like to do a lot of corrections, sanding after the fact, other than for my edge profiling and stuff like that. So there you go. I think that's probably a long enough cut for you. And that's how you do a scroll saw cut.